everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
That's funny.
I'm sorry. We always got shenanigans going. Um, I am Coach Kiana
And I'm
and my
therapist
coach.
Danielle.
All right, and you are
Yeah.
listening to Cityscape Radio, where we are local and global. We are always happy to be here. We are the real on parenting. And we did our previous episode on depression in people, right? But we decided that we would do a part two to help with parents who have children who are depressed. A lot of us
Yeah.
don't know anything about depression, right? Even if we have it, we don't necessarily recognize the signs of it. We don't necessarily, like, sometimes we just like, that's life, right? We don't recognize
Right.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
even if it's
Mhm.
life, it should be manageable. And sometimes we're so afraid to admit that we are depressed. And so when it comes to our children, sometimes there's an
Whew.
embarrassment. The embarrassment of,
There
oh
you go.
my
I was about to
goodness,
say
something's
a whole
wrong.
lot that comes with. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So there's a
Mm-hmm. And
something's
that I
wrong.
did
There's
something
the
wrong.
right. I have to admit fault. Right. And it may not have anything to do with you.
Right.
Sorry to say, parents. Sometimes it ain't about
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
No, no, I agree. No, I don't no, I totally agree. Sometimes it has nothing to do with the parent. It's nothing that the parent did do or did not do that resulted in that for I'm gonna say those for their teenage child. So you're very right.
Absolutely. And I want to say that it is very common for teenagers who are finding themselves, who are trying to have a voice, who are mitigating the right and wrong of life and peers
Yeah.
and fitting in and trying not to fit in because that part don't feel good to me. They are experiencing hormones. They are experiencing, some things I know that people go, oh, well, let's just, take this pill. And it's like, no, can we just remove me from this completely effed up situation? That might be a better solution, right? But either way, both situations can result in depression in our
Mm-hmm.
teenagers. And so
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that we circle back on that just to talk about it a bit because as a therapist, Danielle, I know you see this a lot and you can actually
I do.
diagnose it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yes, I
As
can.
a life coach, I can't. I can
Yes,
take
I can.
Danielle's diagnosis and I can help you, but I can't diagnose it. So let's talk
But yeah.
about how to
Mhm.
recognize the signs of depression. I know that we've
Yeah.
talked about it in the previous episode, but I want us to kind of talk fresh so that the people who are just tuning in can get this information.
Yes. So for your teen, I'm gonna say tween teen. I feel that this day and age for any child, the tween adolescent phase of development no longer exists. You go from elementary and boom, you're a teenager. And unfortunately,
Listen.
that's how society treats children.
Hmm.
But with that, like Kiana was saying, there's so much that is naturally happening.
Hmm.
Hormones, puberty. There's so many different elements that's happening all at once. And sometimes it's very difficult to really determine, like, is this just them going through puberty and trying to figure it out? Or is there something really that's going on that I should do something about or ask about? Um, but signs for tweens and teens is more so behaviors.
Hmm.
What is your child doing or not doing? And that's where it starts in regards to children. Um, their moods, and I always say this, there is the typical ups and downs of moods that's normal, not necessarily
Hmm.
fun for the adult or guardian, but it is normal because your child is going, it's kind of like I always like referencing the movie Inside Out. I don't know if you've seen that before,
I
but
don't
I love
remember
that
it, but
movie.
the title is
Okay.
familiar.
Yeah, it's a Pixar movie, but it was a great example of how feelings are experienced as a child who's transitioning through adolescence. But
Mm.
with that, it's a lot of big emotions: happy, sad, joy, anger, rage, all those things. So it is normal, not fun, but normal for your child's mood to kind of be up and down and all around, but
Now,
not within a day. Let me pull that back a little bit. not cycling within the day. You know, if they have where they're more so in their room because they want their privacy, quote unquote, and they're on their phone, they're talking to their friends, you know, then that's normal. You know, that's within normal range for a tween or teenager.
Mhm.
Um, when you notice that your child's mood is always low, down, not low down, but low, comma, down, you know, you know, people, you know what I do for a living. So people be
Right.
trying to, so sad, you know, I have to clarify, but you know, sad, you know, is not their typical temperament for them, even when they're not necessarily having the best day, but you start to see that they may be pulling themselves away from friends that they typically are always doing something with or talking to, I should say.
Mhm.
Even they're not having or desiring much interaction with the family. And that one is kind of a bit difficult to really determine because for that age, they're not really wanting to really do much with family and wanting
Okay.
more so to do more things with friends. But the thing is, there's still some type of social engagement, whether that's with family or with friends. You know,
Right.
if that's not happening or you see that is dwindling or decreasing to where it really is more so them being to themselves, then that's something to check in. Not to say, oh, it's a red flag. No, something just to check in with. Because I work with parents, you know, so some things because their own trauma, you know, some things how they respond to it, they may be on high alert, and there may not be a reason to be on high alert on that for that for that time, but more so did just require a conversation. Um, Eating kind of like, so there's some of the same under the same umbrella. The eating has changed, whether that's eating way more than usual or not really having an appetite. The sleeping has changed, not because they're on their phones,
Right.
not
Because there's a
because they're,
difference
you know,
between
not
being
because they're
tired because you woke up and now you was on
right,
Instagram for 3 hours versus
exactly,
just not having the
right.
energy. Hmm.
Right. So it's not where I was up all night because I was on my phone, I was gaming or whatever the case may be. It's like, no, I was up because I went to sleep later than usual because I could not sleep, not because they were on some type of device or electronic.
Hmm.
Um, and you may see some acting out behaviors, you know, I don't want to say the typical, but you know, what you hear most often in regards to not behaving, you know, not doing homework at all, you know, and I want to say more so the extreme things, if you will, related to your child. You know, if you know your child typically does their homework, does their assignments, turn them in, and it's kind of like a 360 of like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
Um,
Not to be confused with the work getting harder and your child needing a tutor,
right,
right? Because those are different
right,
situations. And sometimes
right.
because they are not understanding it, because it got harder, they don't have the help that they need, right? Because every teacher say that they're
Mm-hmm.
there, but let's just be honest, we were all teenagers and we know that they wasn't. But there's a
Correct.
difference in the work getting harder. And now because I don't
Mhm.
understand it, I'm no longer interested. That's a
Yeah,
difference than in
the
actual
difference.
depression.
Right. And then also it can something to be a big switch in friends. You know, what happened to Melanie? You know, what happened to Jim? I don't know who these people are. I'm just randomly, but you don't learn about me. I'm gonna make up a name. Okay. So I don't know who these people are. But she laughing because she really know. But you know, but there's a complete switch of that. Stop laughing so hard. with
I was trying to be myself,
with
but I'm
change.
laughing and my eyes are squinting, so I can't see. But yeah, Danielle will make up a name, honey. Go ahead, I'm listening.
But a switch in friends, but also starts to see a rotation of friends. It's like, okay, you just met these friends, you had them for so long, then it's some other friends. So kind of like a revolving door of friends or a complete change of friends altogether. Um, and but also it can be that part of where they're just quiet, not saying a thing. It may not be big and loud and aggression and, you know, rebellion, if you will. It can be them just being to themselves.
Right.
And I am one to always tell a parent, have you looked at your child's arms? Not that they're doing anything. No, but just to be ahead of the
Wait, have
game.
you looked at
And
their
what I
what?
arms, their arms
Okay.
to
For
see
cutting.
if they are exactly to see if they are doing any type of self-harming for girls. And I'd say, let me say this. I was gonna say for girls, also look at their legs. But it doesn't mean just because it's a girl, they only self-harm on their legs. Boys do it too. But girls wear shorter shorts and it's easier to just look when they have on shorts. So it's not like you bust in a room, let me see your arms. No, when they're coming out the shower or it's been hot in California, it's you have opportunities to just look. You ain't got to ask no questions. So if
Right.
you're starting to see, if you see lines, scarred, lines, um, wound, wounds. I'm trying to get my
Like the
word because it's
scratches.
different.
Like it almost
There you
like
go.
sometimes when they're real superficial, it looked like
Right. So
maybe
they're
the
like
dog scratch.
uniformed.
Right.
Right. So they're like uniformed lines is what I'm trying to say. Thank you for helping with words. But there's uniformed lines related to scratches. Okay, well then they have participated or
And
inflicted.
self
Let's say, girl, the words is
they've
hard.
done some self-harming.
Thank you,
Uh,
thank you, because I can't get it out obviously. So they've done some form of self harm, and
mhm.
unfortunately, with social media, our kids have access to everything. I am a parent that my child had. When I say I have every filter program, everything on her phone and devices. However, it doesn't protect from everything.
Right. And
So,
they're
and
not
then
always looking at
also,
their device. Sometimes it's the friend's device at
I was
school.
just about to say that. Right, right, you're right. Like
We
our
can't
kids are not
protect
stupid.
from that.
They know who. Right. So it's very easy to look up ways of self harming. That's
Yes.
what I was going to say for parents. Just know that your child has heard of self harming. Just to let you know, okay? Don't know my child. No, 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 no. They've heard of it. Doesn't mean they've done it. They've heard of it. They're not
Mhm.
oblivious to it. They know that other people do it. They know what it is. Okay. So
Yes.
I don't. There's so many parents that feel that no, not my child, and unfortunately, those are
Yes. Your
yes,
child.
your child. So the era that we grew up in, it's kind of like our threshold in regards to having access to information was within our house. You know
Right.
what I mean? And whoever came to our house, the access our children have are across it's nationwide. Okay, they have
It's
access to
global. It's global.
everything. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So with that, please keep in mind that your child is not oblivious of what can be done.
Yes.
It's a fingertip away, and they can Google it. So I
Not only
just say,
that, but a lot of the songs, like, I have the settings on YouTube where it's
oh
like,
Lord, yeah,
okay, you can watch songs appropriate for this age range. And
mm-hmm.
I upped it a little bit because I was like, she does not want to listen to Disney, right? But then I had to go back and I was like, listen, then
When
have it
I
played on
tell you,
Alexa where, we can talk about it, because I can hear it too. But
right,
like there was one song and the girl was talking about how she was, so depressed over this boy. And I was like, hold on, and she was singing it hard. My baby was singing the song hard. Like she liked the song. Time out because one, words have power, but two, I
right,
don't want, there's so much influence in the music. If you
it,
don't think that
it
your child
is.
is being influenced into some of these things,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Now, I'm that's a whole nother show, but
yes.
whether
But no,
it's
I totally agree. I agree. I'm sorry. I am gonna. I'm gonna not cut you off or pause you. It's
no, no, it's okay.
because in this day and age, there is that part for and not discounting their feelings, not at all, but them understanding their feelings is quite slightly off. It's
Right.
unrealistic. There is an expectation that your child is wanting and expecting to always be happy. Things are going
Yes.
to be great. I'm always going to be feeling good. And when that doesn't happen, when anything happened that goes against that, I'm depressed. No, you're
Right.
not. It's like, okay, you didn't get the grade that you wanted on your test. You worked really hard on it, so you're disappointed, and
Yes.
that's understandable. It doesn't mean the world comes to an end. So within our world, it really doesn't give the capacity to realistically understand and experience all feelings. And with that, like you said, yes, we know as adults that words have power, but
Yes.
with our kids singing and listening to those words, it goes against how a healthy understanding of feelings and processing is supposed to happen. What's the girl name? You know, I don't know names, but the girl name when she did I just killed my ex. I was like, hold on,
Oh,
before killing who?
I haven't heard that one.
Y'all, everybody listen, y'all probably screaming like, oh, that's such and such. Well, whoever she is, my daughter was singing that song, and I said, who is killing who? First of all, we ain't got no criminals in this house, so I don't know who you talking about
Exactly.
killing. First of all, and so I broke all that down, and she is one with words, so she is one who takes the words to heart. And when I broke all that down, she was like, because she had no clue. She's just singing these nice words to these nice beats, you know, because it's sounding good, but not understanding
Absolutely
what the meaning behind it was. So now when it comes on, she changes the song. So, and granted, that goes back to we as parents, as our children get older, as parents, we're not going to be able to be with them 24/7. With that, we need to inform, communicate, and educate our children. When you hear something, you need to address it right then and there, not in a punitive way. You know, I could have easily said, give me your phone and give me your tablet and give me your, I could have did all of that, but what would that have taught her? To
absolutely
sneak behind my
absolutely
back and listen to it later, you know? So, and I can hear some, or I can't hear you, but people probably saying, well, she probably doesn't listen to when you're not there. The way that my child is set up is that she forgets what she's not doing when she gets it all mixed up. So she just don't
don't quit
her
talking
track
about my
record for
baby.
remembering when to not, it's not the greatest. So and so even when she's listening to her music when she don't even know I'm home, she does skip the song because it is a very popular song. And granted, it is a catchy song too. But
I'm gonna have to
with
check it
that,
out because I've never heard of it.
yeah, I'll
But
send
you
it
know,
to
I'm
you. You're
disconnected
gonna be
from
like,
current music.
she done killed the girl too. Girl, it's a whole little mini
It's
movie.
on the
But
radio.
anyway,
Look, I'm not gonna be
yes,
surprised because they talk about killing on the radio all the
it
time when it
is.
relates to gang violence and drugs. So
Right.
this is not far
So with
fetched. I just haven't heard it.
right. Right. And I think we pulled like we kind of went on this tangent, but it kind of pulled away from the symptoms for, you know, for depression in
Depression.
your teens. But I really did want to highlight and speak to the fact that some of our no, a lot of our parents are not allowing our children or giving our children the space to
Hmm.
share what they're feeling. And when your child does not feel they have that safe space with anyone, they hold it in. And
Yes.
that's where those feelings can kind of transition into the bigger feelings related to how they're feeling and how they're attempting to deal with it, but really not knowing what to do with it and just internalizing it. And that internalizing just means holding it in,
Right.
keeping it in. And then when it all comes out, it comes out very big. And the very big can be, and I'm going to kind of go from extreme to kind of going down, but the very big can be self-harming. The very big
Hmm.
can be they're not sleeping at all.
Suicide.
The
Hmm.
very big, exactly the very big is attempting to commit suicide.
Hmm.
Um, there can be the where they're not necessarily wanting to kill themselves, but they're self-harming
Right.
frequently. And there's a difference. That's another show. But not going to school, sleeping through class, just not caring. They don't care. They say, I don't care. They don't care about anything. Granted, that's typical and normal to a certain extent when it comes to teenagers.
Hmm.
So with that, some things to keep in mind as a parent is talk to your kids. And
Yes.
granted, you're not necessarily going to necessarily get a whole conversation out of them, but it's not a one-time conversation that you're supposed to be having with your kids.
Daily. Yes.
It's
Yes.
not. Sometimes you may get a lot of words. Sometimes you may not. You know, there's times when my daughter want to talk, and I'm like, Lord, give me the strength for my little ears to listen. Because for my job, I listen all day. I'm like, I'm listening, and sometimes I'm telling myself I'm listening so much, girl, I didn't even hear what she said. But but it's like you have to. We should be in our children's safe place, physically,
Yes.
emotionally. And as I feel some parents do say, oh, they can talk to me. Let me say this.
And
Just
they
because your
can't.
title is mom, just because your title is dad, just because your title is grandma, auntie, grandpa, uncle, I don't care. You're not entitled to. Let's just put that out there. If you have not continued to do the work to develop that level of trust with your
Right.
child, then no, they don't have that safe emotional space with you.
And I want to say this because, a lot of parents say, well, I ask them all the time if they had a good day. Well, that results in a yes or no question, right?
Correct.
But if you ask them to tell me about your day, tell me what
Mm-hmm.
happened. Did anything happen that made you happy? Did anything happen that made you sad? What was your interaction like with the teacher that you say doesn't like you? Were they nice to you today?
Right.
Tell me how you guys connected. What about your friends? Like you said, what about not Sari, Harry or Sarah or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you,
Melanie.
right. What is that interaction like? I recently experienced. Caleb was like, such and such is not nice to me anymore. Like she, we're not friends
Mm,
anymore because she said this,
yeah.
she said that. You know what I mean? And then I had to make a
Yeah.
decision as a mom to talk to the parent. And thank God that mom was so connected, like she's in tune with her daughter, and she was just like, you know
Good.
what,
Good.
like here, one, she's gonna apologize to you. Two,
Oh, okay.
I'm recognizing, and when I tell you that her and her husband brought their daughter to our home so she could apologize, right?
Oh,
I'm
nice.
right. I was just like,
No,
come
that
on
really
with the common
happens.
sense,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But a lot
Right.
of parents feel like, you know what? I talk to them all the time. Sometimes we stop talking when we hear things that we don't like. Right. And so I always encourage parents when I'm coaching families, I always say, get a journal, a safe space, and write big on the front, non-judgmental zone or no judgment zone, whatever, right? Because non-judgmental
Yeah,
kind of throws kids off sometimes. But
right.
no judgment zone,
That extra
that's
syllable
the
in there, but
right. And I'm like, no matter what they write in there, all you can respond back with is okay. Right. Like that's the
yeah,
first part.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Would you
right.
like to talk about this first? So that first line has to say, okay. The second line
Mhm.
may be, I hear you. I read this and I absolutely understand your perspective. The next line, would you like to talk about this further?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And that's all you can write in there. There is no, well, I'm gonna write back how I feel because when I told her and
right,
then she didn't do,
right,
that's not how to work with teenagers. And
right, right.
unfortunately, a lot of parents have the mindset of, okay, I don't care. She just got to do what I say. Well, one thing I had to implement with my daughter from a very young age is when I tell you to do something, you do it. If you feel it's unfair, do it anyway. Come back to me and say, Mom, I didn't like this because, Mom, I think this is unfair because, and we can talk about it afterwards. To say it in the moment is
Moment. Yes.
disrespectful, is defiant, and it might, because I'm legalish, right? It might end up in you getting snatched up. You understand what I'm saying? We had that one conversation and she was like, so because I am the expert I am, I gave her the benefit of the doubt and I said, I'm gonna take you to the doctor.
I'm glad you did. I'm
I'm gonna
glad.
take
I
you to the
appreciate
doctor.
that
But if
from
that doctor
you
tell me
and
you
her.
don't have asthma, we coming right back to this conversation. If he
What I gotta
say,
say this, why I gotta always gotta be a medical condition?
because it better be if you huffing and puffing at me. Because girl, in my house. So that was
Sorry.
me giving her
Oh,
an
that's too funny.
opportunity to correct herself, right?
Okay, well, okay. All right. Well,
Because
let
if that
Kendra know
doctor
that
say
you can
you don't
always
have
give me a
asthma,
call.
listen, you might be the doctor. Sometimes it's the mental health professional, not the actual medical
Oh my
doctor.
goodness. Oh
So my
Lord.
point is having that safe space. And
Mhm.
now does she huff and puff? Maybe in her room now. She'll never do it
Right.
again. But
Right. Correct.
I'm like, if you need to take a minute and then come talk to me, that's fine
Yes.
too. Because sometimes
Yes.
I need a minute from between her telling me about the school stuff and the new song. And because like she watches
A lot.
YouTube shorts, like she got a million scenarios going on in her head. Mommy, what if somebody broke in the house?
Wait, hold on.
I
No,
don't want. I don't
I'm
want to
sorry.
talk. I don't want to talk about it. What if it,
I'm sorry.
mommy?
I just
What
had a
happens
moment
if?
because I don't do what ifs, and especially somebody breaking in the see that see now
But the what
I'm gonna
if
stop
could be,
talking.
what if the dog, bit me? You understand what I'm saying? Like
Okay,
it could be a million what ifs, but the
right.
fact is
Okay.
that there is a million what ifs.
Yeah, the fact
And I get at least 300 of them a day. So my point is I don't always want to listen. You're not going to always want to listen as a
yes,
parent. Sometimes
yes,
after you've had your own day full of actual stuff, you don't want to
yes,
listen to what ifs. But if
yes,
you shut your kid down, they're going to
right.
stop asking you the what ifs. I would much
Yes.
rather her ask me
Mm-hmm.
300 what ifs
Mm-hmm.
and I answer 300 questions, or
Mm-hmm.
I stop her at 10 and go, okay, listen, mommy has answered a lot and I need like
There
some
you go.
quiet time to kind of get my brain together.
Yeah.
I would
Yes.
rather
Yes.
that than her never speak to me about what's going on in her brain. I want to
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
ifs. I want to know because eventually I'm gonna have my own what if. What if you don't get this grade together? What if these dishes
You gonna
don't
just
get
cut.
done?
You
What if
just
this
tell her to call me.
bathroom isn't cleaned
That's
up
all.
by the time I come back? Do you see what I'm saying? I got what ifs too. It's just situationally appropriate.
God. Okay, that's too
Okay,
funny.
let's move
But I
on.
was gonna. But I think you just had a moment, but I had a whole moment with you. That's why I'm laughing it off. But I wanted to say just very, 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 very,
Open
very
communication.
true.
That's where we were at. Okay.
Yes, so very true. So, within the communication aspect, like for my daughter, I've told her and she used it, are you sharing this with me because you want me to listen? Are you
Mhm.
sharing this with me because you want me to help? Or are you just sharing this with me because you just want to talk? My daughter's a talker. Okay.
I need to
All
start
right. And
implementing those three questions. Wait, say it because I got to write it down. Because you want me to listen. What else?
yeah, because you only want me to listen. So that means that my mouth is shut. My ears is doing all the work, and
Okay.
I'm nodding, and I'm doing all of that stuff. Are you listening because you actually, maybe because you want help? Are you just,
Okay.
or are you sharing because you just want to talk? And the
Okay.
reason why, because like, so I would say with what you shared on what you do within your coaching is great. Is totally great. Because I'm a writer. I love to write. However, my daughter, she's like, no, ma'am. When it comes to the right, you say right to her, and you would have thought I don't know, you told her to do something she wanted to do. So for her, I had to modify because I'm like, well, how my own therapy stuff ain't gonna work on my child.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do for her, and she lets me know. And sometimes I forget that that my ears are supposed to be doing all the work, and my mouth started talking. She's like, "Hold on." I'm like, "Well, hold on. Well, you don't tell me to hold on, okay?" You just remind me that, Mom, I'll just ask you to listen, and I'll say, "Okay." So
So the
within the
hold on isn't
moments.
her way of pausing you? I would think
No,
that
she
was just
thought it was. No, she thought it was,
so
and
that's
I have to tell her to
inappropriate.
hold on. So no, she don't tell her mama to hold on.
Oh, okay.
She could just
Okay.
say, "Mom, remember, I was asking for you to listen." That's
Okay.
that's how
Okay.
you remind.
But the
There
words,
you go. You don't tell.
see, the words hurt. Okay, so real quick, because how they approach it can throw us off, and then we are in a different
Yes,
headspace, right? And so
we all
telling our
we saw her eyes
children,
with real quick. Yes,
again, that goes back to telling our children, this is how in the moment, go ahead and
in
do
the
this.
moment.
Or
Yes,
you could say,
right.
listen, when you want to stop me, just say, oh, mom, excuse me, hold on 1 second, right? Like
Yes,
that's the more
yes, yes.
appropriate way. But I
Right,
think that
right.
was a good point because you ain't gonna tell me to hold on. Now I wouldn't have that wouldn't have bothered me, right? But I
Because you
think
ain't heard
that
her tone.
how you say it,
Say
your
her
tone,
tone.
right?
Yeah, she
Don't
be
blink
having
in that
tones like
tone
she
with
be
me.
paying home mortgages up over here. So, but anyways, but yeah, so with that though, just having that for real, with having that working toward. So if you're at a
I'm gonna
place
tell
where
her to
you're like,
blink twice next time I see her if she need help. If she need
shut up. So, but with that, if you're at a place, even if you feel that you talk to your child,
mm-hmm.
we still want you to do these things. We still want you to
Yes.
ask your children, how the day was. Not did you have a good day or a bad day? How was your day? What was the
Right.
best part of your day? What was
Open-ended
the part of
questions.
your day that you could have done without? And I'm really big on not labeling good or bad or anything, because that's the line of work that I'm in, and I work with kids. But what was part of that you could have done without? What are you looking forward to with being home? It could be like, I just want to shut down and not do nothing at all. I want to chill out, and give them
Right.
the space to do so, accordingly. So with that, and sometimes it could be nothing at all, sometimes it could be big things. However, with there being consistency with you guys having this engagement and communication in this way, when things are happening, when they're feeling a certain way, when they're at a place when they really don't know what's going on, but they just know it doesn't feel right, it allows for them to share those things. So it's not
Absolutely.
always about, oh, they can come to me when they feeling this. It's like, but what did you do the legwork? Did you do the little stuff to even get to the big dogs,
To make
kind
them
of
feel
thing?
welcome.
Um,
Yes.
right. So that is very, very important as a parent. Um, and let's say that they don't come to you, it's okay. Don't take it personal. There may be an auntie. There may be an older cousin, because we have older cousins, that's uncles and
Hmm.
aunties, whatever. But also with that, there should still be that communication between you as a parent and whomever that other adult is. And
Absolutely.
having that identification and agreement that if my child shares anything with you that's dealing with safety or concern or anything of that nature, it needs to be told.
Right.
Otherwise, you guys can have, she can have her space, safe place, or he or she can have their safe talks with you. But if it's something that is warranted for a parent to know, sometimes people need examples. So something that happened to them, they did something to
Hmm.
somebody, they came across and saw something, you know,
Right.
um, that is something that a parent needs to know regardless. It's not for that person to determine, oh, yes or no. I'll tell that, no, if this came out my child's mouth, then I need to be informed, and I would say, yeah, I feel that as parents, individuals who are parents, they have certain people, they're like, oh no, they're good and they got it. However, that person is not their parent.
Right.
They're not.
And that could
So
be a fine thing, because sometimes kids come to me with things that they're like, if my parents knew, they would kill me. Well, then I'm not comfortable sharing with the parent, right?
well, I mean, it's
Now,
certain things that kind of walks that fine line related to some things that they're supposed to be doing or not doing. I'm speaking to the fact of something happened to them, or
right,
they
but
did
but
something.
I'm not just
Oh,
speaking about that. I'm talking about, like,
oh, okay.
sometimes it's, hey, Coach K, this is a sexuality thing that I'm dealing with,
Oh,
and
I
my
see.
parents are heavily
Mhm.
involved in the church.
Okay,
I've worked with too many children who get put out their homes because they've
got you.
decided, that
Good.
they want to share with their parents that they are, attracted to the same sex and things like that. But so now I can't share with the parent. Now it's like, okay, let me look at other resources, which can be detrimental to a kid who is like hiding it, and now they still feel like
Yeah.
they can't come out, but it's not my place to out them. So there's always different things that,
Right. So
we're working with. And then,
yeah,
we have a lot of parents that go, let me just throw you into mental health, and you not just
they'll fix
seeing a
it. That's
therapist,
what
but
they say.
like
Mhm.
committing their kids for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
no, and
so,
that does happen. So let me speak of two things. What I was speaking of
okay.
was more so related to in regards to safety, in regards to things happening or not happening. So your child's safety was in jeopardy to some capacity. That is what always should be communicated from whoever that trusted person is to
Mhm.
the adult. So that's what I was speaking of. In regards to what you brought up is an excellent point. And I think that could be another show, but with that, in a
Really.
nutshell, if you will, is that for any parent or guardian who has a child who is, I don't even want to say confused, but struggling with their sexuality, whether that's the guardians or parents' perception of it, because sometimes that's how their process of dealing with it, that's what they call it, or their child knows and says they're X, Y, and Z. Just to let you know, mental health counseling, therapy, whatever you want to call it, does not fix it the same way mental health therapy, counseling does not fix your life. No. No, that's not how that works. So with therapy, it's a space and a place for you to process those feelings related to whatever you're experiencing, and then whatever resources and things of that nature along the way, depending on what's talked about and what's brought up. But it doesn't fix anything. So if that
I'm
is
glad
what
you
you're
said that.
feeling, or if that's what you have in mind, just know that that's not an option. And you're not going to
Absolutely.
get the results that you're quote unquote looking for, because therapy doesn't fix anything.
And that being said, I really want parents to take some time to educate yourself about depression in children, in teenagers, in adults, because they can vary, even though there's a blanket across, like there are still little things that can vary. And then, understanding the causes. Sometimes parents aren't aware of traumas that their kids have gone through, whether it's bullying, whether it's sexual abuse.
Yes.
A lot of times kids hold that stuff inside. If you have not educated yourself on the signs, the causes, treatment options, you know, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage as a parent. Having conversations on a regular basis. I think sometimes we tend to go, okay, they're being really quiet, they're in their room, they don't want to be bothered, or they're just watching TV or something like that. And then when we realize it's a lot more, it's usually a lot later. And so now we're trying to catch up and figure out all these things. And why is my kid so angry? Well, they haven't had a place to release in the last 3 years or the last 3 months. Like, anger can build up. And I think sometimes as parents, we forget that our kids need just as much relationship as we require from our spouses. The same way, I don't want my spouse to come in the house and be like, I'm listening, and pushing buttons on their phone. My kid doesn't want me to do that to them either. So we have to realize that we're still in relationship. It may not, it better not be a romantic relationship with your kid, but it's still a relationship in the same way, and I see kids all the time. It's a group of kids. I'm not going to just say kids, because I see it, when people are having lunches and things like that, and everyone's on their phone. Texting the people that they're with, you know what I'm saying? And when that becomes a thing, our kids are starving for connection, because connection is the number one way that we communicate as humans. We connect with people. And so if we're not connecting with our children, we are leaving space for social media to give them an identity. We are leaving space for strangers on the internet to become their family. We are leaving too much open to chance, and we're not offering the emotional support that they need, reminding our kids that we love them and that, they have unconditional support with us. And sometimes our support, if we're just being honest, is conditional. But if you don't take a moment to say, I love you. Today, my daughter said something. She was like, you did a great job braiding my hair, Mom. And I was like, I did. High five. And then she said, I did a great job picking the color. I was like, you did, but I didn't high five her, right? Because I'm making a turn in the car. She was like, so I'm going to pat myself on the back. And as soon as I finished that turn, I was like, pat you on the back. You did great. This is a beautiful color. Something as small as that helps our children. We gotta stop pretending as if, all we want to do is come home. Like, I get it. It's not that we're pretending. We do want to come home, get something to eat, take a bath, and relax. That can't be the case all the time.
It's just to be quiet. It's just to be quiet.
We skipping the relax or skipping the eat and going straight to the relaxing. It's not, that's normal. That is normal parenting stuff. When it becomes abnormal is when we are so connected to us that we are disconnected from them, and we have to do better than that as parents.
Yes. I was going to say something else. I totally forgot.
I'm sorry.
That's what I was going to say. And we might go close out after, because that in itself is a whole nother podcast. Show. But thank you, show. But parents, these day and age, children have some type of electronic tablet, cell phone, iPad, whatever. Check it.
Yes.
That's it. That's all. Check it.
It's
Unless
not a
they're paying for that bill
violation.
themselves,
It's not a
then
violation of
you're
privacy.
going to take. And with that, you'll get an idea of what's going on. Everything
Yes.
that you would, I don't want to go into too much because we're going to talk forever, but you'll get an idea of what's going on. Everything that you come across doesn't necessarily mean that you need to address it with your child. It's kind of
Mhm.
like take the information in. However,
Right.
there are some circumstances that does require it, but that's another show. But my point is check it because they are at that age where they have social interactions with others that you are not monitoring because you can't be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of them. Back in the day, we'd be on the phone and the phone connected to the wall. So the parents all they gonna do is listen, turn the TV down turn the
Listen,
volume
pick
on
up
the
that
TV
other
down.
extension.
Right. Or right. And put it on you. You had a smooth hand, but you know what I'm talking about. But that's a part of parenting. And I don't want to say that's a great end, but that's a great end in regards to how are they really doing
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that you may not get from them. So I know we gave a lot, in regards to what depression in itself may look like for a tween or a teen. Granted, there's so much more that I didn't state and didn't address, because we have so
We
much
only have so
time.
much time.
We have
Yeah.
so much time. However, if this is something that you're concerned about for your child, I would say, given that it's a child, yes, seek out therapy for your child. Your child can be assessed. Just because you're seeking out therapy for your child, it doesn't default mean that your child needs therapy. That assessment with that licensed clinical therapist will determine if your child needs therapy. And so we kind of gave a couple of options on how you go about doing that from the previous show. However, if you have insurance, go through your insurance.
Yes.
Also, there is actually you can really Google it, but there's so many different websites you can go to. And so for example, there's one called Psychology Today. You can literally filter it from the state to the gender to the race to the religion. You can filter it how to your preference, and it will pull up, a list with pictures of therapists. So that's another option. There's many more, but just to throw out a few. But yes, have your child assessed.
Yes.
And it may just be that they need someone to talk to that's unbiased outside of the home. And that's okay as well. But I just wanted to
Absolutely.
point that as well.
And I want to point out, because Danielle said as long as you're paying for the phone, if I'm legally responsible for you, I don't care who paying for it. I'm going through it.
Well, in regards to paying for the phone, that means that you at my house. So, but that's a whole nother.
Right. All right. But that's the end of this episode of The Real Old Parents. Because we really can't keep going. All right, y'all. We'll catch you on the next episode. I am Kiana Shaw.
And I'm therapist Danielle.
And we are The Real on Parenting. Talk to you soon.